Umair Najeeb Khan.
He is an amazing illustrator, guys, and he is like he draws, and whatever he draws, it feels like he's drawing like childhood.
Hello.
Hello, Umair. Umair, can you please move, change the orientation if you don't mind? Because you are an other, you can say, landscape kind of portrait
Uh,
kind of.
it gets distorted when I change it because now it looks like I'm looking somewhere else.
Okay, like you have to just manage it for like this session because
Okay.
if we change the orientation, it won't be like feasible for me or any one of us. How are you?
Okay. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. How's the work going?
Good. Uh, it's finally getting back on track.
Finally. And Umair, firstly, I want to say that am your, I can say that I'm your biggest fan. Because whatever you draw, I can connect to it. Especially like initially it was Pokemon. Because आजकल मुझे ऐसे लोग नहीं मिलते who loves Pokemon. ठीक है और जब तुम्हारी बात आती थी when I used to see the illustrations they were so good and I was like wow he is creating what I've always imagined of. I mean you are living with Oddish, Charmander, Eevee, Bulbasaur, Squirrel,
Yeah.
like Squirtle, and you're living
Yeah.
with them. That is the best part.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my first question basically to you is, okay, you are a graphic designer. So what have you studied and from where have you studied that?
I went to Ikra University, Karachi. I studied animation over there, 3D animation basically. But uh, a lot of it is self-learning as well because what I studied there, I don't actually do. Uh, I do all the other things
Okay,
that
what
I
did
kind
you
of
study
build
there?
in. I studied 3D animation over there, which I don't do at all.
Okay, but still, the thing you are doing, it's better than 3D animation. Like you are making comics now.
Yeah, I am making comics, and I've always wanted to do that, and it just suddenly came around.
Right. So, Umair, जो तुमसे बात पूछते हैं कि you are a graphic designer, ठीक है, you are an illustrator, you are now a comic book creator. So, from where did you get the inspiration? इस जो especially Paak Legion के लिए है, because Paak Legion के अंदर the thing I see is a lot of elements, lot of people, like lot of imagination and creativity. So from where did you get that thing from? Because वो मैं बाद में बताऊंगा कि मैं उस पे किस level पे connect करता हूँ. But
Yeah.
I want to know कि कहाँ से ये inspiration मिली.
I was working on another project that required me to research a lot, especially like because if you notice in Park Legion, most of it is kind of centered around all the culture and ethnicities that exist in Pakistan. And that project was kind of similar. That was also a personal project, but I kind of started, I went down a rabbit hole and I had to research a lot of things. And bas wahan se the idea just popped up. Like it was really random. It was nothing planned. Even when I started revealing the first few characters, the comics were not planned. It just happened as I went along. Like those 4 months were really crazy because I was just going and spontaneously doing all of it. I started writing as well on the side, and yeah, it just happened.
So जो उनकी जो super powers थी, ठीक है? Because everybody has different kind of superpower. जो like my personal favorite is Sufyan because he is Saraiki और लेकिन उसका जो character है ना, it is so good. Like I haven't read the comics yet, but the way you have drawn that character, it's very good. So, what is your favorite character and why?
Uh, See, again, these are all my babies, so I can't say one of them is my favorite
You
because I've
cannot
created
be
all of them.
diplomatic about that. You have to like, come up with a
No,
character.
no. See, I wouldn't call her favorite, but Marvi is kind of what started this whole thing. Like she was the one who originated the series because that was the first character that I revealed, and
Okay.
uske
I thought your
baad
first character was the boys from Rawalpindi.
that's the first in the comic issue. Like I before I announced the comics, I started revealing the characters on social media, right? So the first one was
Oh, yeah.
Marvi in that, and
Hmm.
the response was so good that I decided to continue the series after that. The Sufyan came after that. So I kind of uh, have an extra soft spot for Marvi because I don't know, the series may not have happened if that character did not get that kind of response. But I am just as invested in all of them.
Because when I saw those comics, I was like, यार बचपन में ना लगते थे कैप्टन प्लेनेट और उसके
Yeah,
अंदर everybody had their own power. जिसके अंदर वो they had the power of fire, they had the power of
yeah,
earth,
yeah, yeah,
they had the power of water, and they used to
yeah,
connect it, and
yeah,
Captain Planet emerged. When
yeah,
I saw those characters, I was like, this is my version. Like, this is our version of Captain Planet. And he is
yeah,
doing so good. And that
yeah,
was the moment I actually wanted to be in touch with you. Yeah, I actually want to meet him. Yeah, I want to write to him. But I was constantly commenting because I was so inspired by your work. And that's how we got in touch. I'm thankful for that, actually. And the next thing, that you made me connected to Pokemons because not everybody can do that. But then you took a realistic turn of events and you illustrated your childhood stories.
yeah.
So I personally connected to it, but I want to know that how is the overall response you are getting?
The response has been really good. So when like for this, I had a lot of ideas. I had scribbled a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
I had written some few stories that I had in mind. But again, I wasn't expecting it to be received this well. This was something I was working on for Mother's Day, and I couldn't complete it in time because I was busy with other projects. So I thought, why
Yeah,
not just post it because I have a few things ready already. And yeah, it just started growing from there because it was received really well. And if you have kind of noticed on my profile, there's a lot of personal projects in there, and हर कुछ दिन बाद यही होता है कि I start a series and then I switch to something
exactly.
else.
Because initially you started with Paak Legion. Because I started following you when you started the Paak Legion. उससे पहले वाला I have no idea. ठीक है? And then came Pokemon. And
Yeah,
after that came this illustration wali
yeah,
series.
yeah.
So what is the favorite memory of yours?
Favorite memory. I think, see, all of these are basically my memories. So it's not
Hmm.
coming from anyone else's childhood. I'm just reimagining my own. And these are all of those that are really close to my heart. So I can't say one of them is my favorite. Like a lot of these, most of these are going to be around my mom. And I have like so many memories with her. But I really like the Selai machine one. I think that's one thing that I enjoyed the most because nobody else would be around. I would be the only child with her when she'd be stitching something.
And I like that Meetha Pratha wali because I could relate to it big time because
Yeah,
I love Meetha Pratha. And
yeah,
when you posted it, I was like, is he my brother? Do I know him from other time? Like, because you came up with a lot of things, starting with the Park Legion and then Pokemon and then these illustrations. And I was like, I know him. Because tab tak to only I could connect to it. But when you started telling the stories, and you were actually very good at it, क्योंकि मुझे ये था कि you are just a graphic designer, ठीक है? But then you came up with the stories, and not just me, but everybody was connecting to it. That was
yeah.
a very beautiful thing. And you have done a wonderful job, Umair. Like, you are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Hats off to you. तो इसके
Thank
लिए
you.
I want to ask you, अब आगे जाके या फिर in the past, what were the struggles that you had to face? There must be many, but what was the biggest struggle that you had to face?
Uh, I think the biggest struggle in the start is when you're not getting better. Because initially when anyone starts, they directly just want to compare themselves with all the people who have spent hours and years doing that, working on their craft. So their work is obviously going to be better than you. So I think that is always a struggle because, like, if there is any artist over here listening to it, the biggest struggle for an artist to find an art style for themselves. Like if you look at someone's work and you can tell by their work, okay, it could be this person's work. Like, unke naam se you can associate the art style. So every artist kind of struggles with this. Uh,
Okay.
so I think that was like a huge thing to deal with. Another probably was getting my work kind of seen on social media because again, social media has brought this huge platform. for everyone where they can
Yes.
showcase their work. And like I said, I make a lot of series contents. Even before Paak Legion, I have done two more personal projects. One is called Bayaban, which is like a Pakistan in a post-apocalyptic future. So that was before Paak Legion. And I obviously try my best to do it. And it was really disappointing at the start when, it wouldn't get that sort of reach or go to those people. Like Bayaban
Actually,
was
yes.
that. It was that project that required so much effort, but it did not go too far. And then I kind of lost the motivation to continue it.
Okay, so what is that? That was kind of a dark time for you. और इस time का dark time हर किसी के ऊपर आता है because when I started JALI talk show, I was comparing myself to Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon. So I cannot be at that level because they have a lot of experience to it.
Yeah,
और अभी मैं like I started it 2 महीने पहले, so I cannot compare myself to it.
yeah,
And this
yeah,
is actually a very good piece of motivation that you have just shared with me, and I will
yeah.
keep that in mind honestly. So, what is that thing, Umair, that keeps you bright in the darkest of times?
Uh, I think if I want to give this darkest time a name, it's art block for us because when you want to draw something and you cannot do it. So
Exactly. I actually could not come up with the word for it because I have writer's block in my mind, but I didn't know that there is an art block as well. I
there
actually wanted to
is.
ask you that question too. मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही थी मैं पूछूं किस तरह से, but thank you for naming it.
I always advise everyone, and I do the same thing as well. Because you need motivation, and to work on anything, you have to be inspired first. Because a lot of the times it happens subconsciously as well that your art may be, like a collage of several things, maybe that you saw on the internet or in real life, wherever. So I always feel like I have to be inspired to kind of get over the art block. And for that, I either read or I watch something. Like anyway, I watch a lot of TV shows and movies and sometimes anime as well. So I recommend everyone to do that because you kind of start picking things from there.
Exactly. Umair, what's your style? Because I can relate to you big time, bro.
I don't think it's the star. It's so funny. Like this childhood series, even people from India have started following it because of it, and everyone can come like relate to it. And it's so
Okay.
funny. I feel like everyone, all of us, have had the same childhood because सबकी same memories हैं.
But still, what's your star? I want to know about
I'm
it.
a Pisces,
That's why, because I'm water sign, I'm Scorpio, and your Pisces must be in February,
March.
March, start of March. What's
Yeah,
your date of birth?
2nd March, 1994. Uh, do I bring the birth certificate? Do you want to see anything else on it?
No, like we are born in the same year. You will receive your birthday greetings next time your birthday arrives.
I'll
Okay, Umair.
do it.
Now I have some rapid fire questions because they are. I just came to know that you know about like you love movies and stuff. मुझे नहीं पता था that you love movies. That's why I didn't add the questions related to the movies. I wanted to, but I didn't. But still, there are two or three, and you can answer them very well.
Okay.
So, should we start there? Almost 25 questions. You can be rapid, or you can
Yeah.
just be, you can take your time and you can answer them the way you want. Okay? Because I actually wanted like interesting answers. I want to know you. Okay?
Okay.
And start. As a child, which cartoons have you watched that you can still remember of?
Pokemon. Pokemon, Dexter, Powerpuff Girls, Eden and Eddie, Beyblade, uh, Captain Planet,
That's great. Any cartoons theme song that you still remember of?
Pokemon. Yeah, to some extent.
What was it? What was its theme song?
The Gotta Catch 'Em All.
Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch
Pokemon.
'em all, Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yeah.
Okay, name the stages that Eevee evolves into.
Uh, Flareon, uh, Why can't I recall right now? There was Flareon. There's a few new ones as well. There's Vaporeon, and the electric one was the yellow one. I forgot his name.
Yellow one was Jolteon.
Jolteon, yeah. And there was an Umbreon as well, the black one.
Umbreon, and the new one was Glaceon, I guess.
Glaceon and the Leafeon as well. There's like what, eight now, I think.
Okay, I didn't know about the Leafeon. Are you a movie fan or a book reader? Or both?
TV shows actually, none of the two. I watch TV shows more.
Okay, what is that TV show that you are recently watching?
I just started Snowpiercer on Netflix. I've seen the movie, so I thought I would give it a shot.
Okay,
Before
and what is
that,
the favorite TV show of all time?
favorite TV show of all time. I love Umbrella Academy. Uh, it came out last year. I love Schitt's Creek as well. Uh,
I started watching Umbrella Academy. It was good, but it's Ajib.
yeah, that's why I like it. No,
It's Ajib in the sense that उसकी sense नहीं बनती.
the aesthetics of the show are so good. I was mostly invested in that, like the music and the production design and the art direction and all of that. So I think maybe I was focusing more on that. Like, I think the same I really
Okay,
liked in Altered Carbon as well. The show was okay, but the aesthetics of the show were so good.
okay, I might watch Altered Carbon now because अभी उसका Umbrella Academy का तो second season आने भी वाला है.
Yeah, Altered Carbon का भी आ गया, but it's not as good as the first one.
Okay, uh, do you read books?
I used to read books. I haven't in a while because I just
Okay, what
watch
is
stuff
that
now.
book which you have read and you think that it has actually impacted somehow in your life?
It hasn't, and it's very cliched, but there's one book that I've read a few times. Uh, Books actually. One is like the Hunger Game series, and the second is this book called Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. It's really cliched, but I really
Khalil
like the
Sani.
book. Yeah.
It is good. It is actually good. What is the next childhood memory that you are planning to illustrate?
There's this one that I've written about. So like my mother and I, anytime Amma would peel mutter, she would ask us to help her out. So that's the one I'm working on right now.
Okay, nice. Looking forward to it. What is the biggest misconception about graphic designing and graphic designers?
Uh, that they can do anything like in the blink of an eye, or that if you would show them Pinterest and they would just be able to make anything out of it.
You guys can do that, can't you?
But like so I design as well, I illustrate and animate as well. So all three of them kind of are different from one another, but also similar. But design requires just as much inspiration and motivation as illustration or animation. But people don't believe in that. They would expect you to
Oh,
churn like 10 designs in a day, but it's if you're looking for quality work, that cannot happen.
now it doesn't happen because you cannot put your heart into it. You are just rummaging through the stuff, and that's not how it
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
What's your schedule these days?
I wake up, I do you want like it in detail? Although like I don't exactly have a schedule, but I just wake up, I have to cook for myself, so I do that. And I work a little and I have to watch something, at least an episode of something every day. So I do that and I sleep.
Okay. What is the best piece of advice your mom has ever given to you?
My mom, I think it has more to do with like being honest and not comparing yourself to others. She's always said,
Your mom is awesome in that sense because every brown mother compares his or her like her son to everybody.
my mom has actually never done that. I feel like in this regard, my parents are very like not brown because they have never restricted us. They've never compared us with others. They've never said don't do it. I was always supported when I wanted to pursue art. I was never told not to do it. So in some of these things, they're very different from other brown
That's
pens.
beautiful. That is actually very beautiful. And that's why you are doing so good, mashallah say. And I cannot stop bragging about the Legion series. I
Yeah.
want to ask you, like, is there other, parts coming up? Legion Pay?
Yeah, so the second issue was supposed to come out in March, but the everything
Yeah,
happened, like the
situation got
pandemic and the
worse.
lockdown, so I put it on hold because we couldn't print it at the time, and then it was kind of irresponsible as well if we printed and shipped it to people because at the start we didn't know if the virus can, travel through packages and all of those things. But I think things are kind of coming back to normal, as in like at least shipping is possible and printing is possible. So I'm thinking to release the next issue in either end of July, end of June, or start of July, because I'm also scheduling this childhood book in July.
Okay, that is a lot of work.
Yeah,
Okay, which genre of movie you prefer watching?
I love fantasy, sci-fi stuff. Either that or
Right.
post-apocalyptic zombies and all of that.
The best fiction you have ever seen so far.
Uh, I love Interstellar.
It was good. It was good. What is your favorite song that you're listening to these days?
Favorite song. Uh, a friend of mine has kind of put me back on Adele. So I'm going back, like,
Ah,
it's like I've traveled back in time and now I'm listening to her old songs again.
good. She deserves that. If you were a superhero, which superpower you would have?
I would want to be Professor X, uh, get those, yeah, telekinetic and telepathy and all of that.
Nice. What is your favorite dish cooked by your mom?
Cooked by my mom. So my mom makes this beef kadhai, which I really like. So like whenever I go home, she especially makes it for me.
Okay, you are in Islamabad, right?
Yeah.
I might get that something. Fictional character you would like to spend a day with?
Uh, fictional character, Wolverine.
Ooh, Wolverine. Why?
I don't know. It would be just really bizarre. Like,
Okay. If you could go back in time, which era you would have gone to?
man, I love prehistoric stuff, and I also love period films. So probably like the 60s to 70s ka window, like somewhere around there.
Okay. What irritates you the most?
Irritates me though. Like, in what sense? Like, it's a really broad
In any
question.
sense. It can be someone's habit, it can be anything.
Uh, I think like people who cannot clean after themselves.
What?
People who cannot clean after themselves.
Oh, right. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Okay. Uh, this will sound really bad. Like coming from me, like me selling myself. Uh, see, I
Creative.
like to believe. I like to believe I'm funny. So that. Yeah,
Okay.
creative, of course. Uh, I think clean. Again, I'm coming back to that. Yeah.
Okay. Silliest nickname ever given to you.
My khala calls me Chia, like Chidiya, which is really weird because I am nowhere close to it right now. But I used to be really like skinny when I was a kid, so that's where the
Okay.
name originated from. And she still
That's a
calls me
nice
that at
name. I'll,
times. Yeah, and I'm
I'll
like
keep that in mind.
nowhere. Yeah,
If you write your autobiography, its name would be,
I haven't thought of that.
you can
This
think of
this
it right now.
this fits fine. I haven't thought of that. Like this would be the name.
Yeah, that would be good. Unpredictable.
Yeah.